The following is a presentation of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League.
Hello again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, your host of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. It's episode number 2. Great to have you with me, and thank you again for all the support and everybody coming out, following the WOA social media accounts that I've created and have put this whole everything into motion on. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in to episode 1 last week. Received a lot of views on YouTube, a lot of likes, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And last week, just to give you guys a recap sort of what I did last week, it was just more or less of a tie-up to last year and tying off all the loose ends, if you will, giving you an idea how things played out and ended up for those of you who didn't know. Really unfortunate, COVID-19 canceling all sporting events, especially hockey, and the midst of the WOA Senior AA and A playoffs both getting canceled at the respective times that they did. What I also did last week, though, is go through all the teams and give out my all-star selections for each team. Your starting 6 with the 3 forwards, the 2 defensemen, and a goalie for each team. And then I gave the league all-star nod to the whole entire team, which was quite fantastic as well. It was really an unbelievable season in the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League last season. And you know what? There is a lot of uncertainty out there in terms of what next year is going to look like. A lot of uncertainty as to when things are going to start to, get back to normal, or whatever the new normal is going to be, and what hockey's going to like for that matter. And the thing is that on the professional stage, it's really easy for NHL teams to go and play in front of an empty building, but it's a lot more difficult when you got 14 local teams around the area and expecting them to get by on having games with no fans in attendance and not being able to get that money and that I'm not sure of the word I'm looking for here, but that's something that they require to operate throughout the season, to cover operating costs and team costs and everything in between. So it's just something that at the end of the day just can't happen. You just need to have that sponsorship. You need to have that gate income. You need to have the fans. The fans are what drives this league and what makes it great. So anyways, what we're going to do for this week's episode is really exciting. We got our first guest on the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast, and he's a beauty in this league, and he's come in and done a wonderful job transitioning from junior hockey to senior hockey. It was his first season in the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League circuit. He played for the Seaforth Centenaires. He wore a couple different numbers last year, but the one that stuck was number 24. His name is Holdyn Lansink. Okay, we're pleased to be joined at this time for the first guest ever on the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Rookie sensation of last season. He had 44 points in 19 games. He plays for the Seaforth Centenaires. His name is Holdyn Lansink. Holdyn, thanks for joining us, pal.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. I guess the big question, well, the first question I want to ask you is, obviously with the tough times and everything, with people trying to cope on a day-to-day with everything that's going on with this pandemic, how you doing with that? Are you making it through all right?
Yeah, everything's good. Been able to kind of get back at work here, and just doing our part, staying at home, and that's about all you can do right now.
Absolutely, it's hopefully everything will go back to normal soon. Not only just in everybody's day-to-day life, but in sports as well. Let's talk about the season, because that's why I really brought you on here. Not that I'm not interested in the personal life and everything else with that, but it's the season that I want to talk about and how great of a first year that you had. So I had a question from Twitter. Dennis Pern on Twitter asked about the differences between junior and senior hockey, and that was going to be my first question. You jump in after 4 years in Listowel, and then you come in and play senior hockey. What'd you find was the biggest difference?
I found it a little bit tougher, to be honest with you. We practiced once a week, which was good and had great numbers. Most nights we'd have 18, 20 guys out, which is great for senior hockey. But, in junior, I was used to practicing 3 times a week and getting your touches. And, you only get a certain amount of your good scoring chances. So I guess the toughest part was just bearing down. And I found it a little bit tougher to score in senior than I did in junior. But that was probably the biggest difference. And then I guess you're playing against men too, so that's a huge difference as well.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I find it kind of interesting though that you said that you'd had trouble scoring, considering in your last year of junior you put up 111 points in just over 60 games, and then you put up 44 and 19. So scoring's not an issue for you, pal.
I've been fortunate to play with really good line mates the last couple of years, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Whiff and Cal Penn this year was a nice treat, and the year before, obviously playing with Herf and Braden Krieger was also pretty. They made it pretty easy to put the puck in the net. So
no question. All you got to do is be in the right spot at the right time.
Exactly.
I want to ask you about so your first playoff experience in your first year with Seaforth. You guys draw Clinton, the 4-time consecutive champs, and going for a 5th consecutive. They're your hometown team because you're from Clinton. What was that like for you, lining up against them? Did it make it a little bit extra special for you?
Yeah, I mean, my dad played 14 years in Clinton, so we really, the two of us really, and the whole team actually really wanted to win that series. We took some big steps. Like, we lost a couple 1-goal games, a couple overtime games, like in their barn, right? So those games can go either way. And
yeah,
we're looking to build on it this year. We've got quite a few guys committed already, which is great news. A lot of guys are keen to come and try to get things going in Seaforth. So I mean, like you said, I spent quite a bit of time. Grew up kind of between Seaforth and Clinton, so
right.
It was definitely a cool series.
Yeah, no question. I guess, it would have been really interesting for you, no question. Got a question from a Twitter follower here. His name's Jared Baker. He wants to know about your hairstyling business, Lens Cuts. What can you tell us about that?
I guess back in the junior, probably year 2, the boys around January, you stop getting the e-transfers from the parents. So I volunteered to start shaving heads in our billet basement.
That's awesome.
$5 a cut. You had to clean up your own hair. It was mint.
That's awesome, man. I wasn't expecting it to go that way. That's what made me interested about the question. That's funny.
Oh yeah, that guy's a character.
All right, next question I got for you. So, Minto 81's goaltender Ben Nelson, you might know him well. His question is, do emojis make good tattoos?
Good one, Nels. I mean, you have a couple of drinks and sometimes you do silly things, but hey, it tells a good story, that's for sure.
I'm guessing there's a good one behind it, no question. The Seaforth Centenaire's official Twitter, they asked me, they wanted to know if you would talk about your best moment from the season and maybe your lowest moment from the season. Give us kind of an insight on that. Yeah,
best moments, I guess, would be, it's tough to pinpoint one. We had a lot of good times. We had a great group of guys. I mean, from Tuesday night practices carrying on till 1 or 2 in the morning. I mean, the list goes on and on. Some fun bus trips.
Yeah.
And then I guess a low would be getting suspended before Game 6 and having to watch your team lose the last game of the year was extremely hard.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, definitely take some learning lessons from it though.
Sure.
But yeah, so.
Right on. You mentioned road trips in there, and I got to ask about a specific incident that I was privy to. I'm not going to say who because I was told not to. But I did get some insight on an equipment mishap. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that's good. We went up to Shallow Lake, and it was our first bus trip, I think. The boys were circled up, and I went to go set my gear at the back of the bus, and someone was calling me over, so I ran over, left the gear at the back of the bus,
Classic.
And we were taken off to a bar, so the equipment got left in Shallow Lake, actually.
Oh, man.
So, lucky enough, a former psych actually picked it up and sent me a message saying, hey, your equipment's in Shallow Lake here. So got her back, but yeah, I shouldn't have been able to play for the rest of the season. That was dumb.
Oh, man, but it was good for a laugh, though, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I heard about that one for a couple months for sure.
Well, hey, I mean, that, you know what? All part of the rookie experience, I suppose, right?
Yeah. So when you're a vet in junior, you're accustomed to kind of setting it at the back, and
sure.
And it usually gets loaded. So that was a bonehead move. But
hey, you learn from it. That's all that matters, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to ask you, because this is actually kind of a neat little thing here, because I mean, not a lot of people get to experience something that you got to experience last year that I thought was really interesting, and that was playing alongside your dad. What was that like for you?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously, something we have kind of joked about forever. And the stars aligned last year. He got a year up coaching, and he was able to put in a season, and like I said, it was very cool. We got to start the home opener together and play some minutes together, and
nice.
He had a pretty good year too. Like he definitely didn't look out of place out there, so it was good. Right
on. So who would you say the funniest person is on Seaforth?
Geez, that's a great question. There's quite a few characters. When James Toy and Danny Bryan get going at each other, it's quite comical.
Oh yeah.
That's probably hands down the winners.
Right on. How about the most serious? Who's the most serious? Like stone cold face on the team.
Oh, another good one. I don't know. I don't even know if we had one when it came time to get dialed in. I would say for the most part, everyone was pretty good at getting focused up and ready to rock.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, when you have a successful season, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have so I'm sure you got a pregame ritual of some sort. What were some of the other guys? Did you find that there was a little bit interesting, I guess?
Junior, I found there was a lot more rituals. You do the team stretch before, and everyone kind of has their own things in warm-ups and stuff. But I didn't find that there was a ton of rituals in senior. Maybe I wasn't looking as closely, but I would have to go back to the junior days to say, where there was a lot of rituals happening and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You didn't want to get in anyone's way on game day, but
sure,
it's a little bit more laid back in senior.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let me ask you just a couple fire questions, I guess, on you.
Yeah.
Talk about let's say Brandon Merritt. What's he like? What's he like to play alongside?
He was awesome. Welcomed me with open arms. And he actually lives maybe 5 or 6 doors down from my old man, so in Lucan. So
yeah.
We've been able to get together a couple times in the off season already and have some beers. Obviously, this virus is not allowing that as much anymore, but he's a great character guy. He's been with the organization since day one too. So, I mean, there's nothing bad to say about him. He's a great person and a great player. So
yeah. What about Rob Van Weinsberg?
Yeah, Robbie's probably I guess to go back to the serious, you could probably put Robbie in that conversation. That guy plays hockey more than anyone I know, and he's definitely the most skilled player I've seen in a long time. He's in unbelievable shape, and he's able to bring it every night. So great player. Yeah.
Talk about let's go with Craig Dalrymple.
Again, another character person, great guy. The best defenseman I've ever played with, hands down. I mean,
wow.
His resume speaks for itself. And like I said, great guy, great leader too. Just a good person.
How neat was it to play alongside your old AAA teammate in Liam Mlady?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hutchie about halfway through the year. I guess he got the boot from junior hockey, so we definitely welcomed him with open arms, and he was a great addition. Again, the two of us have a lot to figure out. It's a different league, so I mean, this year will be a good season for both of us, hopefully. And he's my cousin. He's in my wedding party. He's always been a really close friend of mine. It was just a matter of time for when he was going to become a centenaire.
Yeah, that's neat.
Plays with a lot of heart. Good guy.
Right on. Yeah, good defenseman too, right?
Well, he actually plays forward, but
sorry.
I guess he used to play D back in the day, but
right.
he's a forward now and plays with a lot of energy.
Right on.
So,
last guy I want to ask you about, and then I got one more for you before I let you go, and that's Alex Hutcherson.
Oh yeah, Hutchie's a good guy, great goaltender. Any team event or team function, he's right in there. After game beers back at someone's house, Hutchie's always in. He's
nice. Like
I said, great guy. He drives from Toronto every practice, never misses a practice, never misses a game. So
wow.
Anyone that's not bought in, it's a true test of his character, I guess you could say. And he's really bought in and loves coming to the rink. So he's a good guy. Right
on. Of course, we're speaking with Holdyn Lansink of the Seaforth Centenaires. Last question I got for you, pal. What is your expectation for next season, if and when that season finally happens? What are your hopes for next year?
Obviously, it's to just win a championship. That's the main goal. Everything else doesn't matter. The points, none of that matters. We just want to win titles in Seaforth, and hopefully next year, we can achieve that if the season happens. But like I said, it's all about wins and championships. So
right on. Well,
the individual success honestly means nothing. So.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, like I said, thank you very much for coming on here and doing this, and we really appreciate you having you on, and we look forward to seeing you in the Sense next year. It should be fun. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate all you do for the league, man.
Once again, I want to thank Holdyn for joining us here on the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Unbelievable to chat with him. He's a great dude, and he is a really unbelievable talent. And really look forward to seeing what he has in store for an encore in his sophomore season in the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League this upcoming season, when and if that ends up happening. In terms of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast, episode 3, we already have our next guest lined up, and his name is Ryan Fisk. He was one of the co-head coaches for the Minto 81s last season. It'll be really interesting to get his take on how things ended up. Of course, he was one of the coaches of the 6 teams that had their season cut in the middle of playoffs and their playoff run. The 81s had an unbelievable season last year, having covered them for the 29 games that I did and was a part of it from the beginning to the end. And it'll be really interesting to get his take on a lot of things that I have to ask him. So that episode is coming up next week, and again, I'll have it posted at some point. I'll have an advertising graphic for that, and I encourage you guys to ask your questions, because it's just really interesting to get your guys' questions and allow them to answer them. So we'll make sure to have that available to you guys as well next week. So this has been another episode of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Stay in tune with all my social media for the latest league happenings. I'll make sure to do my best to keep you guys up to date on everything and anything that is WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League news and information, and of course the podcast episodes. My name is Andrew Rogers. I'm the host, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.